Welcome to Graveside Walks. Today we will take a glimpse into the life of famous Dubliner Ronnie Drew and look for his final resting place. Ronnie Drew, born Joseph Ronald Drew, on the 16th of September 1934 in Dunleary, County Dublin, to Patrick Paddy Drew, a carpenter, and Margaret Peg Drew, a seamstress before her marriage. In 1955, Ronnie emigrated briefly to London, where he worked for several months before returning home for a year, but departed for Seville in Spain, where he taught English to private students on and off for the next few years, into the late 1950s, early 1960s. He took lessons in the flamenco guitar and acquired a basic fluency in Spanish. Ronnie's interest in folk music began at age 19. After being spotted by actor-producer John Malloy while singing and telling stories after a funeral, he was asked to perform in the Gate Theatre, where he sang Irish ballads to his own guitar accompaniment. He also appeared in sketches and took parts in small plays. In 1962, he continued his appearance in the Gate, where he would be sometimes joined by other musicians, such as Barney McKenna. Drew and McKenna would meet every Friday night in O'Donoghue's pub on Merrion Row to meet Malloy to collect their pay. In December 1962, Drew asked the owner if they could perform a few numbers, and it was from here on that informal regular sessions of folk songs and traditional Irish music would begin in O'Donoghue's back room. In 1962, Drew founded the Ronnie Drew Group with Luke Kelly, Barney McKenna and Kieran Burke. The name was soon changed to the Dubliners, with John Sheehan joining shortly afterwards. They quickly became one of the best known Irish folk groups. They played O'Donoghue's at first and were often accompanied by Mary Jordan on spoons and vocalist Anne Mulqueen, a friend of the McKennas. They were introduced to the Abbey Tavern in Howth by Mary Jordan's mother. This became a regular Monday night venue for the group. During the winter of 1963-64, they began gigging in Irish venues beyond Dublin and securing dates in Britain. The Dubliners gigged throughout Britain and played many Albert Hall concerts in 1967. They toured Europe, where they had a substantial following. They had a USA tour in 1968, where they made an appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show on St. Patrick's Day. Due to the band's heavy touring schedule and shaken by the illness of Kieran Burke, who suffered a brain aneurysm and was unable to perform, Drew left the Dubliners in 1974. He would go on to release 2 solo albums, Ronnie Drew in 1977 and Guaranteed Ronnie Drew in 1978, which also included stories, poems and recitations. After Drew's return to the Dubliners in 1979, they released an album entitled Together Again, which had songs from contemporary composers. The Dubliners would suffer another loss with Luke Kelly, who suffered a 4-year-long terminal illness and was only able to perform with the band intermittently. In 1987, the band released a double album entitled Celebration to mark the anniversary of the group's formation. It had new material and collaborations, one of whom was with folk punk band the Pogues, with the song The Irish Rover, where Ronnie and Pogues frontman Shane MacGowan would alternate verses. It went to number 1 in the Irish charts and also charted in the UK, with both bands performing on top of the pops. The Dubliners would go on to record another double album entitled 30 Years a Greying in 1992. This would be Ronnie's last album with the band. The album would also feature collaborations with folk and rock artists, including Rory Gallagher, where they sang his song Barley and Grape Brag. From 1999 onward, Drew pursued a solo career. Some of the many artists he recorded with include the Pogues, Christy Moore, and the Dropkick Murphys. He did a number of one-man shows, including Songs and Stories, Ronnie I Hardly Knew Ya, and Ronnie. The shows consisted of stories of Patrick Kavanagh, Brendan Behan, and Sean O'Casey, and some songs. In September 2006, Ronnie Drew was diagnosed with throat cancer, and in June 2007, Ronnie's wife of over 40 years, Deirdre, died, leaving Ronnie devastated. Ronnie Drew died in St Vincent's Hospital, Dublin, on the 16th of August 2008. He is buried in Redford Cemetery, Greystones.